Good morning, my dear students. How are you all? Hope you all are doing good and staying safe. Welcome to a new session in English. In this session, you are going to study Unit 3, Section C, the first part of the lesson The Shadow and the Flash by Jack Layton. Before going to start the lesson, let us know more about the writer. Jack London, pseudonym of John Griffith Channing, was born on 12th January 1876, San Francisco, California, US, and died on 22nd November 1916, Glen Ellen in California. John Griffith Channing was an American novelist, journalist, social activist, and short story writer, whose best known works, among them The Call of the Wild and White Fang, depict elemental struggles for survival. A pioneer of commercial fiction and American magazines, he was one of the first American authors to become an international celebrity and earn a large fortune from writing. Before going to the lesson, The Shadow and the Flash, let me introduce three scientific terms to you. The lesson, The Shadow and the Flash, is typically depends on these three terms, and they are transparent, translucent, and opaque. What do you mean by transparent objects? Light rays are able to pass through transparent objects. These objects are seen through like clear glass and water, or the vision will be clear through these objects. Then comes translucent. Translucent objects only allow some light to pass through them, or we can say that it partially allows light through them, or we can see partially through these objects. Then comes opaque objects. Opaque objects do not allow any light to pass through them. This means that we cannot see through them at all. Keep these concepts in your mind. It will help you to understand the lesson well. Here you can see the textual image of the lesson, The Shadow and the Flash. I request all of you to read it well. Continue with your reading. After the textual images, you can see the meanings of the new words as well as the summary of the given images. Both will help you to understand the lesson well. One more image is given here for reading. Continue with your reading. Here you can see new words as well as their meanings. First one, rivalry. What do you mean by the term rivalry? It's an ongoing relationship between usually two rivals who compete for superiority. Then comes outdo, means to excel or go beyond in performance. Spur, someone or something that motivates you to act with greater effort and speed. Asserted means stated or declared. Then comes objective, based on facts that can be proven. What do you mean by mockery? The action of ridiculing, sneeringly, with lack of respect. Ejaculated, replied fastly. Now let us move on to the summary of the given images. Color is a sensation. It has no objective reality. In this lesson, you would have come through three characters: Paul Tixlon, the narrator, and Lloyd Inwood. They three are great friends. Paul Tixlon and Lloyd Inwood seemed born to rivalry with each other, and the narrator was the peacemaker between them. When Paul entered college, he decided to study the natural sciences, specializing in chemistry, and Lloyd also followed the same. So, their rivalry continued there too. Each was a spur to the other. They were at the narrator's home after they had taken their degrees. One day, when the narrator was sitting in his garden, Lloyd Inwood arrived. They both started discussing about the physical properties and possibilities of invisibility. Lloyd said that color is a sensation. It has no objective reality. According to Lloyd, without light, we can see neither colors nor objects themselves. Since all objects are black in the dark, no light strikes upon them, and hence no light is reflected from them to the eye, and so we have no vision evidence of their being. So, as you know, we can see three friends here: Paul Tichlone, Lloyd Inwood, and the narrator. Here, Paul Tichlone and Lloyd Inwood always seem to fight each other. But as you know, it's a healthy fight for proving one is superior to the other one. And here the narrator is having the role of a peacemaker between them. When Paul Tichlon entered college and decided to study the natural science, specializing in chemistry, Lloyd also followed his path. So their rivalry continued in the college also. In fact, each was a spur to the other or a sense of motivation for the other one. They were staying at the narrator's home after they had taken their degrees. And one day, when the narrator was sitting in his garden, Lloyd reached there. And they both were discussing about the physical properties and possibilities of invisibility. Lloyd has an opinion that color is a sensation. It has no objective reality, or is just a sensational. It is not at all having any objective reality. And according to Lloyd, without light, we cannot see colors or objects. Since all objects are black in the dark, no light strikes upon them, and hence no light is reflecting from them. And so we have no vision. A fight seemed close at hand. Here, the narrator had an objection that we see black objects in daylight. Lloyd told him that that is because they are not perfectly black, and if they are so, we could not see them light as well. Lloyd explained him that with the right pigments properly combined, an absolutely black paint could be produced, which would make invisible whatever it was applied to. Suddenly, they got startled with the unexpected entry of Paul Tichlon. Paul reminded Lloyd about the shadow. A fight seemed close at hand, but Paul laughed good naturedly. Paul told him that even though he is optimistic about his expectations, yet the shadow would be a problem. Paul said that he simply wanted to inquire about the shadow. So here we can see the rivalry started. The narrator had an objection about Lloyd's points, and he raised the objection that we see black objects in daylight. Lloyd explained him that the reason is that they are not perfectly black, and if they are perfectly black, we could not see them in lights also. Lloyd also told him that with the right pigments properly mixed, an absolutely black paint could be produced, which would make invisible whatever it was applied to. Suddenly, they both got shocked with the unexpected appearance of Paul Tichlone. Paul reminded Lloyd about the shadow. Here we can see a fight was going to start, but Paul laughed in a good natured manner, and he also told Lloyd that even though Lloyd is optimistic about his expectations, he would meet a problem with a shadow. Paul also added that he simply wanted to inquire about the shadow. Flash of light versus transparency. As you have learned, Paul was doing experiments about transparency, and Lloyd told him that it can't be achieved. Paul didn't agree to what Lloyd said, and he left for his leisurely walk. Here, the narrator said that it was the beginning of a competition, and he also added that this is how they both attacked each other, as they were both fully filled with energy, and this is how they competed with each other for being successful. As Lloyd was working hard with his project on flash of lights and Paul with a project on transparency. So here you can see the healthy fight among these two is going to start. And Paul was doing experiments about transparency, and Lloyd told him that he won't be able to achieve it. Whereas Paul was not agreeing to his words and he just left for his leisurely walk. And that was the beginning of a competition. And here the narrator is saying as how they both attacked each other as they were both fully filled with energy, and this is how they competed with each other for being successful. Here, Lloyd was working hard with his project on flash of lights and Paul gets alone with the project on transparency. The story is not completed here. It will be continued in the next session. Let us check the comprehension. In this slide, you can see three questions to answer. I request all of you to answer these questions in your practice notebook. The first one, the over competitiveness displayed by Paul and Lloyd was beneficial in terms of scientific achievement, but harmful with respect to their own lives. Explain. Second one, what was Lloyd's theory about an object that was perfectly black? And the last one, what was the role of the narrator in between the rivals? I hope you all will be clear with the answers. I hope the first part of the lesson, the shadow and the flash, is very clear to you all. We will continue the second part in the next session. Wishing you all a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.